Hello everyone and welcome to Photochemistry Lecture 4. We have already finished with Photochemistry Lecture 1 to 3. Those who wish to watch the video can see the link provided in the description box. In the last 3 lectures, we have discussed about some of the basic concepts of photochemistry and Jablonski diagram. Today we are going to study about photoisomerization, and in the next lectures we will study some more organic photochemical reactions. Let's have a quick recap of lecture 1 to 3. Photochemical reaction take place in the presence of light. It is different from thermal reactions. For a molecule to undergo photochemical reaction, it should have a chromophore. When a molecule absorbs light, electronic transition happens from bonding molecular orbital to antibonding molecular orbital. We have also studied about photosensitizer and have seen how it helps a molecule to undergo photochemical reaction even if it does not have a chromophore. Photochemical reaction have 2 steps, primary and secondary. The reaction does not follow Stark-Einstein law. When an electronic transition takes place in a molecule, the electron may retain its spin and this is called a singlet state, or the electron may change its spin and this is called a triplet state. Triplet state has a lower energy than singlet state. Singlet to singlet transition is allowed transition and singlet to triplet is a forbidden transition, but under certain circumstances it occurs. We have also learned from Jablonski diagram all the possible electronic and spin states transitions possible in a molecule which is excited by light. We have seen that phosphorescence have a longer lifetime than fluorescence. Now coming to today's topic, photoisomerization. Photoisomerization is an isomerization induced by light. Here are some examples. Conversion of fumaric acid to malic acid, trans-stilbene to cis-stilbene, trans-azobenzene to cis-azobenzene. All these conversions are possible with the help of light. Before going to the details of photoisomerization, let's understand one thing. Alkanes do not exhibit cis-trans isomerism, as free rotation around the single bond is possible. But alkene exhibits cis-trans isomerism because the rotation about the double bond is restricted. So, in alkene, by any means, if we can break the double bond to single bond, then free rotation is possible. And further regeneration of double bond, there is a possibility to achieve the other isomer. Now the next question is, how can we break the double bond in alkene? If we supply some energy to the alkene molecule, either in the form of heat, that is thermally, or light, that is photochemically, it may be possible to break the double bond in alkene. It is observed that most of the isomerization of alkene does not occur thermally. It is possible photochemically. Thermal energy is insufficient to cross the activation barrier for the reaction. Therefore, the reaction does not occur thermally. Now, when an alkene is exposed to light, photoisomerization can happen by 2 ways: by direct irradiation of the substrate, or it may happen with the help of a photosensitizer. Let's see the mechanism of the reaction. Trans isomer is thermodynamically more stable than cis isomer because in trans isomer the larger groups are far apart, less steric hindrance, and so it is a stable configuration. Therefore, irradiation is a useful method to convert trans isomer to cis isomer. Now look at the scheme above. When a trans isomer absorbs light, pi-pi star transition takes place from bonding molecular orbital to antibonding molecular orbital, that is from HOMO to LUMO. In the pi star state, the molecule exists in diradical form, bond order decreases, free rotation around the bond possible, and the excited molecule adopts a twisted geometry where the p orbitals are perpendicular to each other. From this geometry, the excited molecule can either go back to the trans form or can give rise to the cis isomer. Here you should note that whatever we have discussed in slide number 9 is exactly happening here. Now let's see what happens in the presence of a photosensitizer, for example benzophenone. In the presence of light, benzophenone first gets excited from ground state to singlet state and then to triplet state. And in the triplet state, it transfers its energy to the trans-stilbene molecule. The trans-stilbene molecule in the triplet state exists in diradical form, free rotation possible, and regeneration of the double bond gives cis-stilbene. Now coming to cycloalkenes. Cycloalkenes having 5 carbon atoms or less exist only as a cis isomer. As in trans isomer, the ring is highly strained. Transcyclohexene is formed, but it is very reactive and immediately undergoes reaction to relieve the strain in the ring. But transcyclooctene is stable at room temperature because of the large size of the ring which can accommodate the strain, and transcyclooctene can be isolated. Here are some examples of photoisomerization of cycloalkenes. Now, we will discuss some applications of photoisomerization reaction. You may think photoisomerization is just a small change in the configuration of the molecule. What's so great about it? Look at these examples and you will understand its importance. Photoisomerization is one of the primary steps in the vision process. There is a protein named opsin present in the eye. 11Z retinal can fit into the pocket of opsin through imine linkage and form a complex called rhodopsin. Why 11Z retinal? The double bond is present at 11 position and the two R groups or the two preferential groups are on the same side. So it is a Z isomer. The complex rhodopsin can absorb light, and as a result of which 11Z retinal gets converted to 11E retinal. 11E retinal can no longer fit into the pocket of opsin and gets dissociated into 11E retinal and opsin. This sends a signal to the brain and the brain processes it as a vision process. Let's see another example. Bacteria do not have eyes to see day and night. So how do they distinguish between day and night? In bacteria, para-hydroxycinnamyl derivative is attached to a protein by thioester linkage. In the presence of sunlight, an ion of this derivative undergoes isomerization. Trans isomer gets converted to cis isomer. This causes a change in the secondary structure of protein, and hence many properties like shape, hydrogen bonding, dielectric constant, etc. changes. This produces a signal which helps the bacteria to distinguish between day and night. If isomerization takes place, then it is a daytime. If not, then night. Another example of cis-trans isomerization is seen in neonatal jaundice. Some babies are born with jaundice, that is yellow fever. In that case, all double bonds in bilirubin exist in cis geometry. Bilirubin in this form is less polar, hydrophobic and water insoluble. This water insoluble bilirubin accumulates under the skin and other organs, causing jaundice. In India, these babies are exposed to sunlight or they are exposed to blue light. What happens then? All cis double bonds gets converted to trans double bond. Therefore, non-polar water-insoluble bilirubin gets converted to polar water-soluble bilirubin, and now it is excreted through urine and jaundice is cured. Isn't it interesting? Let's see some more examples. Cis-trans isomerization is also used to prepare helicin type molecule. It is also used for industrial manufacture of vitamin D from ergosterol. Cis-trans isomerization can also be used to transport ions across the liquid membrane. As you can see that in the cis form, the K plus ion is sandwiched in between the two crown ether rings, and in this sandwiched form, K plus ion can be transferred from one side of the membrane to the other. Reaching the other side of the membrane, the cis isomer gets converted to trans isomer and K plus ion gets released. This is how the K plus ion is transferred from one side of the membrane to the other. Here we come to the end of lecture 4. In summary, photoisomerization is an isomerization which is induced by light. Isomerization of alkene is not possible thermally. Photoisomerization can be promoted by direct irradiation of the substrate or by a photosensitizer. Trans isomer of alkene is thermodynamically more stable than cis isomer. Therefore, irradiation is a useful method to convert trans isomer to cis isomer. Cycloalkenes having 5 carbon atoms or less exist only as cis isomer. Trans cyclohexene is very reactive and gets protonated easily to relieve the strain in the ring. But trans cyclooctane, here it is octane, it should be octene, is stable at room temperature and can be isolated. We have also discussed about the mechanism and some applications of photoisomerization reactions. That's all for today's lecture. Myself, Dr. Kakali Lahiri, signing off, and we'll be back soon with the next lecture. If you like my lecture, please subscribe it. Thank you and bye-bye.